Badendtheater. Select your protagonist and explore a variety of terrible fates. The decisions you make in one story will affect the others. You can toggle these behaviors to open up new paths. But unfortunately, every path leads to a bad ending. Can you find a way to save this unlucky cast? That being said, let's get started. Hi there! This is badendtheater. We're gonna be toying with fate today. You will make many choices, unlocking darker and darker paths, all in order to witness a lovely variety of tragic events. But first, allow me to explain how it works. To begin the tutorial, select whichever doll you'd like. I'll go with boring doll. You control the human doll. You're just a friendly little guy just minding your own business. How will you interact with the demon doll? I'll play nice. I'll be a good noodle. You try to make friends with the demon doll, but it kills you in cold blood. How ruthless. You just found your very first bad ending. But don't worry, the story needs not end here. Let's reset the stage and try again. This time, try controlling the other doll. You control the demon doll. You're a fierce-looking guy, just minding your own business. How will you interact with the human doll? Play nice. You and the human doll are able to set aside your differences and become friends. Why, this isn't a bad ending at all. I should have written out this possibility. It's just not suited to my theater whatsoever. Now that you know how the story goes, you can set the doll's behavior in advance. As you just saw, these behaviors will automatically be set to what you chose during your last playthrough. But now you can turn each one on or off without having to replay from that doll's perspective. Yes, my theater actually doubles as a puzzle game. Now try turning the doll's behaviors on and off to see the different outcomes. Why can I only be a dickhead? There's only an option to be an asshole. What if I keep playing nice? Yeah! I'm gonna be a good noodle! I'm done. I'm actually interested in the maiden. You are a maiden. You live in a peaceful village next to a spooky demon overlord's castle. You're told that you're fated to be captured by the overlord one day because you are a beautiful young girl. Demon and overlords apparently love capturing those. You know, as they normally do. You think of how you haven't heard of that actually happening to anyone, but maybe the demons just haven't been given the opportunity? Who knows? You are in church. You pray to your god, asking why you've been born into this role of maiden. You respect the divine plan and all, but you're really just curious as to what the point of it is. You are impatient. Meeting a demon actually sounds pretty gosh darn exciting. Maybe you'd understand your role better if you were to just hurry up and get captured already. You leave a note and venture forth to find a demon, just to, see what happens. Not long into your little adventure, a demon underling appears before you. It looks pretty scary. Whoa! Yo, it's got sharp teeth! Ooh! Oh no, I'm doing a good noodle run. I like to imagine that this Grim Reaper looking narrator is really cheerful sounding. It's just a psychopath. You tell the demon your name and explain that you're a maiden from the village. The demon suddenly jumps to you and starts biting. A lot. How painful. This plan of yours was completely stupid, you think? Why couldn't you have been more patient? Why did you go looking for trouble? You aren't angry at anything, of course. This was your fault for trusting a demon not to devour you on sight. This is your punishment for questioning fate, you guess. Bit by bit, you are swallowed by the demon until you are no more. Consumed. And then we set curtains on our poor maiden for the evening, only to open them and start once again. You yell, but the hero does not come. Not again! We got 41 endings to get. It's hero time. You are the hero. You like to think of yourself as a pretty reliable and swell guy. Your life has been rather ordinary, aside from the occasional heroic adventures fighting evil monsters and whatnot. You are told a maiden from your village has been kidnapped and is likely being held captive at the nearby demon overlord's castle. Who even puts a village right next to where an entire demon army hangs out? You don't get it. You're happy to protect the townspeople, though. You were born to play this role. You head off on your adventure to rescue the maiden, but demon soldiers block your path. You could kill them to gain experience. Forgetting your pride, you escape with your life. But you can't return home now, your reputation will be ruined. You wonder how you'll ever be able to rescue that maiden all on your own if you can't even fight some lousy demon underlings. You'll take your chances at the castle. You're a hero after all. This is your job. After the long trek, you make it to the castle's front gates. You're faced with an army of demons that look very intimidating. There's no way to sneak past these monsters if you want to reach the Overlord. Hey, can I come in? You go up to the nearest demon and explain why you've come here. They stare you down and you feel very uncomfortable, but they seem to trust you and escort you directly to the Overlord's chambers. That was easy. The Overlord is alone. You ask about the maiden, but the Overlord doesn't seem to know what you're talking about. Was she really never here? I wonder what could have happened to her. The Overlord says that she wishes she could help you, but you're the first human that's come here in forever. At least, that she knows of. You think of how you probably shouldn't trust her, seeing as she's a demon and all, but you can't really prove she's lying either. You apologize for the intrusion and return home to your village. The maiden was never found. Ending achieved, you're fucking useless. Okay, now I'm going to be violent. Bravely slaughter the people who are just hanging out. Kill! Blood! 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 You make quick work of the vile creatures who stood in your way. You feel much stronger now. After a long trek, you make it to the castle's front gates. You're faced with an army of demons that all look very intimidating. Oh, I'm gonna try being diplomatic. Attempt to explain why you've come, but the monster before you is eyeing you with suspicion. I wonder if it's the blood. They can't help but notice the demon blood from earlier you haven't had the chance to wash off yet. Whoops. You have no choice but to fight the army in self-defense. Oh well, more experience points for you. You make your way through the castle, fending off all the demons that stand in your way. The Overlord appears, demanding to know what the hell you're doing murdering all her soldiers. You get straight to the point and ask her where the maiden is. She feigns ignorance, a convincing act, but you won't be fooled. The maiden isn't here, then what happened to her? You can only see one answer. The Overlord has definitely captured her. In fact, it's possible she's already been devoured. Thinking about that poor maiden's fate fills you with hatred. You fight the Overlord with everything you've got. You become strong from the hordes of demons you've taken down before this battle. The Overlord is almost no match for you. You cut her into pieces. The Overlord has fallen. You breathe a sigh of relief. Your job is not yet finished. You search the castle. Unfortunately, you find no sign of the maiden within its walls. It's just as you suspected. She must have already been devoured. You feel hollow. A great evil has been banished from this world, but what does it matter if you were too weak to save someone? You stand alone amidst the carnage and ponder what it means to be a hero. You return to the Overlord's remains and wrap her head in your cape, and bring it back to the village. Surely, your great victory will be celebrated. Failed, fucking idiot. Reset the stage. Let's check out the underling. You are a demon underling in service of the Overlord. You aren't particularly strong, but not particularly weak either. That's what your friends tell you. Your job is to guard the castle and keep humans away. It's unbearably boring. Heroes rarely come all the way here to challenge the Overlord anyway. It's a lot of standing in one place, staring into nothing. You feel like you're gonna go crazy if you don't get a break. You decide to ask the Overlord for a day off. She gives you an earful about responsibility and unquestioning obedience. You wait for her to finish her lecture before returning to your post. What does she know about anything? Who made her the boss of everyone? You complain about the Overlord to your friends. They agree that she's kind of a snob and totally deserves to be kicked off her throne. You only wanted to vent your frustrations, but the conversation somehow turned into an assassination plot. You should probably steer this in a responsible direction. Oh, and say, you know what, yeah, let's fucking overthrow her. No, you're sick of this Overlord holding you and your friends back. You agree that it's time for a change of management. Your friends suggest maybe you should be the new Overlord. You like the sound of that. You announce your first act of rebellion is to take the day off like you wanted. Your friends aren't very impressed. You assure them that you'll talk more about the assassination thing when you get back, which satisfies them. You sneak out of the castle to have some fun. The change of atmosphere excites you. Yippee! You spend some time rolling around in the grass, wild and free. As you make your way along the path to the nearby human village, you encounter a maiden. She seems very frightened and screams for a hero to come save her. You consider your options. Kill or kill. I think kill. Maidens aren't the best meal, but you figure you should live up to your demon name and strike back against the humans. You start devouring the maiden without so much as a second thought, and feel quite proud of that. Other humans would surely praise you with curses if they were around to see. Oh man, if only someone could have been watching. Time to find an audience for your evil deeds. You wander into the nearby village. The people are screaming and running away, throwing rocks at you and whatnot. You think it's pretty rude of them. You haven't even done anything yet. Oh, let's put on a show for the theater. You attack the nearest human. He's old and weak and his bones crunch delightfully. Your audience's screams grow louder. Applause. You think, hey, this is actually pretty fun. I should have taken revenge like this a lot sooner. As you continue your bloodthirsty dance, striking the villagers down, you fail to notice a sword-wielding hero running toward you. He takes you out with one swift blow. You're just a demon underling, after all. As you die, you think, that was totally worth it. The curtain closes. Theater! The stage! I can be hungry and disloyal. Okay, we'll continue down the overthrow her path, but we'll tell her to shut the fuck up real quick. My god! When the maiden realizes you're not going to hurt her, she regains her composure. Now she's started talking to you like you're friends or something. You don't understand humans at all. First they're yelling bloody murder, and now they're talking about the weather. Oh, this is a white people thing, isn't it? You speak the same language, of course, which has always confused you, because why is there conveniently only one language in the world? If demons and humans have independent societies, wouldn't it make sense for them to each have their own language? The maiden is going on and on about some kind of destiny she's trying to fulfill. The bottom line, from what you gather, is that she wants you to take her to the Overlord. Sounds like it could be interesting. Besides, you've got nothing better to do. Satisfied with your day out, you take the maiden back to the castle and present her to the Overlord. The Overlord asks where you found this maiden, knowing full well that you left the castle when you weren't supposed to. Apologize for disobeying her, but hope that the maiden is an interesting enough present that you may be forgiven. The Overlord nods and says everything's cool as long as you always listen to her from now on. You're impressed with what an easygoing boss she is. You mention how you can't believe you and your friends even considered overthrowing her. He gives you a look and you say, that was just a joke, of course. Come on, you know us. She smiles and dismisses you. You decide it's about time for a nap. You don't get to sleep long. Your friends wake you up. Rude. One of them is stepping on you pretty hard. You ask them what their deal is. They say they're planning the whole revolution. They're gonna get rid of the current overlord and put a new ruler in place. They want to hear if you're in or out. And being a pretty lazy underling, of course you reply with, that sounds like a lot of trouble. How about we just skip it instead? Your friends question your loyalty to their cause. Oh, so many branching paths! You tell them that you were just joking and clarify you're totally in it to win it. They say you were always terrible with jokes. Whether or not you actually feel like killing the Overlord, you'd know how bad it'd be to end up on the wrong side of things. And if this assassination deal doesn't pan out, you can always pretend you were innocent all along. But beneath your shield of faux confidence, you worry about what you're getting yourself dragged into. You follow your friends outside the castle to talk more about the plan. You're curious if they have any idea how they wanted to go about this. They figured they'd just lock her in a room and set her on fire. Ugh, what a stupid plan. That could go wrong in so many ways. You realize your friends are just a bunch of directionless thugs, useless without someone's guidance. Your guidance. There'd probably be casualties if you fought her head-on, and while showy deaths make a revolution a heck of a lot more fun, it's probably the wrong way to go. Your friends agree and suggest that you play the assassin. You really didn't want it to come down to this. But you can't back down now. You'll have to be the one to assassinate the Overlord. Besides, no one has any better ideas. You sneak into the Overlord's room while she's taking a nap, like usual. This is almost too easy. You silently approach your master. She looks so peaceful. You don't want to kill her. You can't go through with it. You turn to leave the room, but you find your friends blocking the exit. In a panicked whisper, you ask them to let you out. This seems to have been their way of testing your loyalty. You tell them this is pretty fucked up and ask to be let out. The Overlord stirs in her bed while your head is turned. The demons shut the door. You scramble into the Overlord's closet to hide before she wakes up and sees you. There's nothing you could possibly say to explain this and survive. You're trembling. You can't believe those assholes would bully you like this. You feel like crying. Lights flicker at your feet. It doesn't take you long to realize they've set the room on fire. You hear the Overlord trying to get the door open to no avail. You're both trapped. Too afraid to move, you resign yourself to your fate. You and the Overlord burn together. You got the ending. You're a pussy. A skip? Actually, you tell your friends you were totally not serious about the whole thing. You're actually cool with the status quo. After all, life must be pretty dang good if the only thing you have to complain about is that you live so comfortably there's nothing to do. The others nod, but don't seem convinced. You say a coup d'etat would be more effort than it's worth, but you're still gonna be a rebel and sneak out of the castle. Your friends praise your mischievous ways. She's actually not so bad, you guys. Your friends seem pretty disappointed. They apologize to you. But before you can ask what they're sorry about, one of them suddenly seizes you. Someone who's still loyal to the Overlord really has no place in our castle. You understand, right? Their claws tighten around your neck. Don't bother to struggle. You're outnumbered. You already know how things like this end. This is a pretty messed up thing to do to a friend. You tell them. They slit your throat in response. Time to die. You figured the cleanest way to do this would be to dig your claws into her throat. So you do just that. She wakes, but not in time to stop you. You watch as she chokes on her blood, cursing you, before finally expiring. That felt terrible. You remind yourself it was either her or you, and you weren't about to let yourself get killed by anyone. You leave the room to find your friends waiting just outside. You look pleased. Only now do you realize they must have planned to use you like this from the beginning. You are the new ruler of this castle. Your subjects bow before you. You live in fear that they will one day betray you, as you had betrayed your Overlord. Let's play the Overlord. You are the Overlord. You live in a castle surrounded by your demon servants. It's a pretty cushy life, you think. Except for those pesky humans who keep killing members of your army. There's even a role called Hero whose whole purpose in life is just to dethrone you. What's their deal, anyway? You've actively avoided pissing off the humans and hope they'll leave you and your army alone, but they never do. You're still new to the whole Overlord thing if you're being quite honest with yourself. You don't really understand the politics of it. But you remind yourself, everyone is just doing their best to fulfill their roles. You won't let them bait you into being the evil Overlord they expect. You think you're pretty cool and mature to hold yourself to the higher standard like that. One of your underlings walks into your room, totally interrupting your thoughts about how awesome you are. They're saying something about how boring it is to stand in one place guarding the castle all the time, especially since no one ever comes here anyway. You see their point, but the way they're whining about it kind of bothers you. What to do with this underling? You give them a lecture about responsibility and unquestioning obedience. Your servants ought to do what they're told, whether they like it or not. They look really unhappy with you, but you're sure they'll thank you for this later. Venturing too far from the castle tends to spell death. You dismiss the underling and lie down in your nice and comfy Overlord bed. All that lecturing made you want to take a nap. You fall asleep pretty quick. Just another one of your amazing talents as the Overlord. You wake to a knock on your door. The underling from earlier brought back some company. You thought you told the underling to do their job, not drag strangers into your room. Looks like they took an unauthorized breakaway from the castle. You scold them, but ultimately you're a little interested in the guests, so you let them off easy. That underling's not so bad. It's a maiden from the nearby human village. She says her role is to be captured by you. The maiden then goes on to say that she's been getting very impatient thinking about her impending capture, so she's come here to speed things along. You appreciate her honesty, but regret to inform her you never had any plans to capture any humans. She seems very disappointed by this. Perhaps I'm not performing my role well enough. How can I become more maiden-like? You don't really understand the question. You think the world just puts way too much focus on destiny and junk. Just go home and stop worrying about it, you tell her. The maiden seems to be having a hard time wrapping her head around this. She insists that she'll stay and talk to you more. You feel warm inside as she looks into your eyes. This is the first time a human has looked at you without contempt. You'd love to have all the conversations in the world with your new friend, but having a human girl here will definitely cause trouble. You put on your mean face and tell her to get lost. But the maiden turns out to be very stubborn. You don't want to hurt her, but you also really want her to leave in case something bad happens. This whole situation is just asking for trouble, you think. Against your better judgment, you let her hang out for a little while longer. You enjoy a nice long chat with her, sharing stories about your kind. She expresses her surprise that demons are not at all what she expected them to be. You are glad that she seems to have an open mind about these kinds of things. You also bring up how you always instruct your army to avoid humans, as to not agitate them and get heroes sent after you. That explains why the people of my village have been left unharmed. It's because of your orders, isn't it? We are very grateful. You're surprised to hear her thank you. You've always thought of humans to be violent and unreasonable. That's why your servants are always getting killed, despite your efforts to leave them alone. But this maiden is different. You joke that maybe you've been lying to her this whole time and you're actually super evil all along. The maiden laughs at that, saying she wouldn't mind being held captive here. The people in her village are a little exhausting at times, she says. Can't tell if she's into you or not. You're interrupted by another human in your doorway. This time, it's a hero. He was apparently searching for the maiden, who was rumored to have been captured by your kind. Captured? Not at all. I only wanted to meet with the Overlord. Didn't anyone read the note I left behind? After everything is explained, the hero expresses his relief that the whole misunderstanding hadn't led to any horrible consequences. The maiden apologizes for causing trouble, and the hero asks her to return to the village with him. Confusing feelings well up inside your heart. You're surprised that you had one of those to begin with. You don't want the hero to take this maiden away from you. No! It's time to begin. The maiden came here to be captured by you, didn't she? You'll grant her wish. You tell the hero you won't let him take her home. The maiden assures you she'll be back, but you don't budge. The hero is cautious now. If you won't let her go, maybe you demons are evil after all. And if you are, I'll be forced to vanquish you. You have no choice. You destroy the hero before he can steal your maiden away. She's frightened. You don't understand why. Didn't she say she prefers this place to her village? Now she doesn't have to leave. You take a step towards the maiden and she backs herself into a corner. You don't understand. She wanted to stay here with you. The hero was trying to get in the way of that. You had to kill him. You'll be sure to keep this maiden very safe from now on. You're certain that she'll return to spend more time with you. You'll just have to trust in that, you decide. The hero and the maiden gone, you plop down into the comfort of your luxurious overlord bed. Your room feels so empty now. Is this loneliness? You hope your new friend will be back soon. You close your eyes for a while. Until your door slams shut. Before you know it, everything around you is being engulfed by flames. What's going on? You try to escape, but something's blocking the door. You're having trouble forcing it open. What is this? Someone didn't want you getting out. Are you being usurped? They had zero foresight. What castle will they rule from if this one burns? You don't want to believe that your underlings have betrayed you, but this is no accident. Those ungrateful bastards! You choke on the thick black smoke from the fire. You can't believe you're being done in by a bunch of cowards. You'll see them in hell. If I choose polite, maiden, disloyal, then play the Overlord. Go. Oh, something new! You've almost fallen asleep when the maiden and the hero burst into your room, frantically trying to communicate something to you. You're told that a group of demons is plotting to assassinate you. Not surprised. How nice of the humans to care, though. One of your underlings barges in next, shouting that the humans are liars. They're followed by another group of demons, crying that everything was the first underling's plan. Everyone is shouting over each other, and it's very annoying, and you yell at them to shut their traps. You have no doubt that your servants would let their ambition cloud their judgment and lead them to try and take your throne. Regardless of who led this conspiracy, I have no choice but to punish everyone to keep you all in place, crushed beneath my heel. Saying that made you feel very Overlord-like. Aren't sure if you have the strength to back it up, though. Lately all you do is sleep. A group of demons starts muttering something about going back to Plan A and suddenly slam your door shut. You, the maiden, the hero, and one of your underlings are trapped inside. And in an instant, the whole room is in flames. The underling pounds on the door, cursing at their friends for betraying them. The hero pounds on the door as well, vowing to slay the cowardly demons on the other side. So this is how you'll die. Burned alive in your own room by those you thought you could trust. Should have expected this from a bunch of idiot demons, though. You notice the maiden crying. Why does she have to die over something that has nothing to do with her? Perhaps she was cursed from the moment she spoke to you. You wonder if you're cursed as well. You're so filled with anger and frustration, you don't even notice that you've grabbed the underling whose traitors blamed everything on. They cry for mercy, saying that they were dragged into this plot knowing they'd be killed if they took your side. They cried that they didn't want to have to kill you. You almost feel sorry for them. Time for retribution. You pierce their chest with your claws. You scream. The hero backs away. He's wise not to interfere. They've stopped moving, but you keep digging and twisting your claws into them. Doesn't make you feel any better. The underling's corpse burns along with you and the two humans. Spite! Spite! Gotta unlock Merciful. You release the underling. Killing them wouldn't make you feel any better. Besides, they've already gotten their punishment. You'll all burn together. The Overlord's true end? No! Before you're taken back to reset the story once again, you pause for a moment. True end, you say to yourself. What was the point of all my effort if the true end is this terrible? You must have forgotten where you were. This is the Bad End Theater. Is the pain setting in? Oh, but you should have been well aware of what you'd been shown when you'd entered this place. It's a problem I've seen quite often. At some point you grew attached to my little cast. You started to relate to their flaws, their plights. You started wishing for their happiness. But you aren't going to find that here in my theater, my lovingly crafted labyrinth of suffering. Anyway, I hope you'll pardon the interruption. You're making great progress. The choice to continue on to the next ending is always yours. I'll leave you to it, dear guest. Unfortunately, I must leave you all on a cliffhanger. I recorded about 2.5 hours worth of footage, and shot my voice from it because I didn't do any vocal warm-ups beforehand. So, to give myself a little time to heal my throat, I'm going to be cutting this up into multiple parts. I would also like to mention that I'll be putting fan art features in the credits of each video from now on. So if you'd like a chance to submit something, remember you can send to any of these links, as well as a brand new Discord server I've made. All links are in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay frosty, my friends.